believe how much luster is off this. This is annually, Shane, the best game.
Yes.
In the SEC, perhaps. But we got LSU on the road at Alabama. Bama, of course, favored by 9.5 points. 49.5 is the total. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, nationally televised on ABC. Both these teams have had 2 weeks to prepare. And who knows what in the world we're getting out of LSU. Will they get the interim bump that Florida got last week? I think they might, Shane. What say you? LSU at Bama.
You know, it's funny because you always knew whenever I saw this game, I first thing I thought of was Gary Danielson, right? It's kind of a bad thought, but that's what I always thought. You know, this is a flex game. We're going to have it at night, blah, blah, blah. This is always the second CBS game. And it does suck, man. It does suck that we've got an interim coach for LSU. I feel like this one easily could have been game day. If you were to ask me, I think we even did a list, you know, when we're going around trying to find the best schedule. And if I'm not mistaken, this one was on there, right?
Yeah.
So highly, highly disappointed that it's not, but still could be good, right? Just because game day's not there doesn't mean that this isn't a great game. I still feel like both these teams super, super talented. LSU obviously not going to be going to the playoffs, but they'd love nothing more than to knock Alabama out of them, right? You know, or at least get them off the wrong path. So I feel like when you look at Alabama, this is a football team that's getting healthy at the right time. That's what makes them dangerous. You know, when we're starting to get to the end of this thing and we're trying, yes, have they made mistakes along the way? Absolutely. Have they had some growing pains? Absolutely. But I felt like that bye week was the most important thing that could have happened for Alabama. You're seeing receivers coming back healthy. You're seeing a football team that now has one goal, to make it to the SEC championship, and they do that by running through those LSU Tigers. So let them worry about a coach search and let Alabama worry about the trophy case. So give me Alabama 28, LSU 17.
Well, I just looked it up for fun, Shane.
Yeah.
Old Gary.
Yes.
Any idea what game he's calling instead of this?
No. What is it? UCLA and I don't know.
I mean, it might as well be. It's Oregon, which I got respect for them. All right.
Yeah.
And Iowa.
Oh, man.
I mean, these barn burners they signed up for up there in the Big Ten. You know what? Oregon,
I'm surprised he hasn't retired. Like,
oh, he is. He's after this is his final year. He said.
Yeah.
He can't take these damn games anymore.
He saw in Iowa. He said, "No, this is it. I'm out."
Well,
Am I right or am I wrong? I know you're picking upsets, but
yeah. I just wish I knew the status of old Garrett Nussmeier and what this offense will. Now, this is a different story, right? So I said Auburn, how much can they really change?
yeah,
I think LSU, you know, it's not going to be drastically different, but they 2 weeks to prepare, new play caller. I think they can change it, Shane. And shout out Frank Wilson, interim, say, hey, he is very, very popular down there. We are going to establish this run. Now, it's one thing to say it.
yeah,
But, hey, when you got a problem, first step to fixing it is what? Admitting it.
right.
Instead of the last guy, you're spoiled. Shut up. We ran that one time. You know, like, no. You got an issue. You have to identify it. You have to correct it. And Frank Wilson's already on it. They got running backs down there. I don't know if they got the offensive line. That'll be, you know, critical here. But Bama, under Womack, they love the blitz. So, you know, I don't know that Garrett Nussmeier can win you this football game. I think he's got the weapons to do it. I think he's got the talent to do it. I don't think he's got the offensive line to do it.
Yeah.
And what does this defense look like? That, gosh, remember wasn't that long ago we were looking at LSU like, this might be the best damn defense in the country. Come on. 5 interceptions against Florida. They totally corralled Clemson. Of course, we found out Clemson was a complete fraud. But, you know, wasn't that long ago, this was an elite defense.
Yeah.
Not anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is about Mississippi State defense, if you ask me. So middle of the road defense, that ain't gonna cut it. Alabama at home. I think you're 100% right. I think it's a little too tough. I think it's closer than what you got it because I think LSU really will fight their ass off. They'll get that interim bump. But give me Bama to win but not cover. Give me Bama 27, LSU 21.
Percentage that this is a blowout, like 0 to 100. What I feel like that's still
10.
on the table here too, right? No?
Nah.
No. Okay.
They'll show up. They'll show up for this one. Just like we could have said the same thing about Florida, Georgia.
Yeah.
They show up. They got pride down there. Now, if they lose,
Yeah.
some of these others could be blowouts,
If LSU loses this game, how many more L's will they have before the season's up?
One.
Okay.
6-6. Or 7-5.
Arkansas.
I think at Oklahoma.
No, I'm joking.
I wanted to get your thoughts on Alabama, Steven, hosting LSU in this rivalry showdown. What to make of them LSU Tigers with interim coach Frank Wilson? Who the heck knows? But, man, it doesn't matter who the coaches are. Doesn't matter who the players are. This is always an elite matchup. Of course, I say that Bama's dominated here lately in a lot of the matchups, but LSU can never be discounted, Steven. This is the type of game they could literally turn the entire season around. And how about this? Because Shane asked me this. So this is way off topic here, kind of, but he says, "Hey, can LSU make the playoff if they beat Bama and they win out? They go 9-3, and let's say Oklahoma wins every game up until this point. Then they'll have 2 more quality wins. Any shot LSU makes a playoff at 9-3."
It's a good question. I mean, if they do finish 9-3, Mike, you'd be talking about losses to potentially 2 playoff teams, and you would have 2 victories coming up against playoff teams or playoff contenders. It feels like a long shot, but in that scenario, if you just start doing the math, okay, if you beat Alabama, you're back in the top 25. You beat Oklahoma, you're going to be close to the top 15. So, I mean, I think maybe the biggest thing here is kind of the eye test. Does LSU look a lot better than they have at times this year, which helps them get into that conversation? So I don't think we should totally dismiss it. It feels like a long shot given the way they played, but the opportunities are there with that schedule.
Well, I would correct you, Steven. You said they would have losses to 2 playoff teams. I assume you're talking about A&M and Ole Miss. Vanderbilt could get, if they're 9-3, Vanderbilt goes 10-2. Vanderbilt, I think, would be in. You could sit here and say all 3 of their losses were to playoff teams.
Yeah. And you could also argue, and this is kind of where the committee should look, is let's just say this team does play at a different level over the last half of the season. What if Brian Kelly was just dragging the whole team down? They changed play callers. They look a lot better. They win in Tuscaloosa. They win in Norman. I mean, all of a sudden you're talking about a completely different team, which is what the committee's supposed to be evaluating. So 3 losses to either playoff teams, playoff contenders, 2 wins over top 15 teams. They would be probably back on the bubble in that scenario.
Yeah. Well, that being said, that's nice to talk about, but they got to beat Alabama first, Steven. So what are your thoughts on this epic rivalry here? The latest matchup down in Tuscaloosa.
Always love this rivalry, Mike. So many high profile ranked matchups, talent on both sides of the ball. Just always love seeing Alabama and LSU on the same field. Wasn't much of a game last year, of course, because Alabama took care of business. But I think when we talk about this game, I think we also kind of go back a little bit to thinking about Auburn and thinking about, if you're Frank Wilson, you've had a little bit of time to get ready for this game. Alex Atkins has called plays before. You've got some experience on that staff to make offensive tweaks if you need to. But how many tweaks can you make if your offensive line and rushing attack are still an issue? And it feels like that offensive line is still going to be an issue on Saturday. So I think they're still limited by personnel. But looking to see what kind of bump that they get from having Frank Wilson. But also on the other side, there is so much to play for if you're Alabama. You are 3 wins away from being in the college football playoff. They're going to beat Eastern Illinois. So this schedule with LSU, Oklahoma, Auburn is tough, but also we saw Alabama navigate that stretch earlier this season. And then the off week, I think, was so critical for Alabama because it felt like they were running out of steam a bit in that South Carolina game. So I think coming off the off week, there's a chance for a refreshed Alabama team. And when you study these matchups, the first one that jumps out to you has got to be Ty Simpson and these receivers against LSU secondary. It's good on good. Fascinated to see how can LSU create some pressure, maybe disrupt Ty Simpson. How is their coverage downfield? Can they slow down this Alabama passing game? On one hand, LSU's defense, I think, is pretty solid, but Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, they all had success against this group. So on paper, it's looked pretty good, but the results against top 25 teams have just not been there. They also only have 9 sacks this season. So that number, I think, has got to change on Saturday. I think the real intrigue for me also, in addition to Simpson versus the secondary, has got to be the LSU offense and what kind of changes can we expect? You saw Frank Wilson say, hey, we're going to fix this running game. Got to get this going. Alabama's had some issues at times this year on the ground, but again, offensive line. Can you solve that in 1 week? Does Garrett Nussmeier look better after having a couple weeks to get healthy now that we've reached November? There's a lot of intrigue here, and the strength of LSU's offense is that receivers and passing game. Alabama's secondary is pretty solid. No opponent has managed more than 270 passing yards against this defense this year. So good on good when Simpson and LSU's secondary are going up against it. And of course, just so many memories and rivalries and high profile matchups in this series. Interested to see what LSU comes out on Saturday looking like given the coaching change.
Yeah, and how much, no way to know this at this current time, but with 2 weeks to prepare, maybe Garrett Nussmeier, better health, feeling good. This could be a game where he really improves his NFL stock. If he comes out here on the road, has a great game against Alabama, and he's that quarterback that many of the NFL people said he was, could you see that if he's feeling close to 100% or 100% as he has all year?
I think there's a chance we see, Nussmeier. I don't want to say have maybe one of his better games of the season, but it does feel like there's the potential that he can maybe shake off some of those early season struggles, time off with health, the receivers here. I mean, Alabama's defense is solid, but I also think we've seen teams that have had success moving it, albeit not much in the secondary. So I think maybe if anything else, there's like a psychological battle too, because you're going up against Ty Simpson, who's now starting to get first round buzz for the draft. And Nussmeier's like, hey, don't forget, I was this guy last year and coming into the season. So I think that maybe we see a better version of Nussmeier. My question about this game just comes back to, if you're LSU, I don't know that you can necessarily solve some of your lack of run game offensive line issues in just by changing the head coach and coordinator.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And, one guy that we've not seen a ton of this year, Steven, is, at least at full capacity, is Ryan Williams. And with the way Jeremy Bernard's playing, if you can insert in Isaiah Horton, of course, they got the freshman kind of coming on as well. Let's say whatever was ailing Ryan Williams, let's say he's closer to 100%. Man, how lethal could this, with the way Ty Simpson's playing, how lethal could this offense be if you just insert a healthy Ryan Williams in here?
Yeah, and it also feels like he kind of shows up in some of the bigger games this season. I know he didn't have a great game against Missouri, but 87 yards against Tennessee, 98 against Vanderbilt, had 72 yards against South Carolina. So yeah, I think that's kind of how with Delaney and LSU and the fact that he's been so good. You got Halsey also back at safety for LSU. Like those guys in this LSU secondary, it's one of the better groups in the SEC. So just seeing how Williams and Bernard and Simpson perform on Saturday is really probably one of the must-see individual matchups for me this week. So yeah, if you get Williams going to go with the other guys, I mean, this passing game can carry Alabama to a win on Saturday and even bigger things this year.
Yeah. All right, Steven. So who you got winning? Alabama, will they continue their march to the college football playoff, or does LSU right the ship? And all of a sudden we can get Brian Kelly. We could get him fired for cause he sucked at coaching,
Yeah, I'd say there might be some people interested to see about that contract if LSU shows a spark on Saturday. I'm going to buy LSU showing some fight. I think they're going to show up at Tuscaloosa ready for a fight. The problem is you got to do it for 4 quarters. And I think that's the difference in the game. I think it may be a little bit close early on. I know Alabama just absolutely pummeled LSU last year, but I think LSU fights in the first half. I think Ty Simpson and this offense get on track in the second half. So give me Alabama 30, LSU 20. Alabama wins and continues that march to the college football playoff and potentially the SEC championship game.
Yeah, and who knows, Stephen, maybe even the national championship game. And I think who will like that is Bama out-of-state tuition payer. Bama out-of-state tuition payer. Welcome to
the family.
What a name there. We appreciate you.